Hi there, it's James Morton here on the Happy Foodie channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some iced rings, or party rings as you might know them as. It's one of my favourite recipes from my book, How Baking Works, because it shows a great hybrid biscuit dough. It's one you can use in loads of different biscuits, so custard creams, empire biscuits, Jammy Dodgers, that kind of thing. All you need are these ingredients here. So we have butter, plain flour, corn flour, an egg, some caster sugar, and vanilla. And you also need some of these wee cutters just to get the ring shape. You can improvise a wee bit using the top of lids, and you can use also things like cups and glasses to get the big cutter. But first of all, and it is really important, is to preheat your oven. Today we're going for 160 fan, that's 180 conventional, and that is gas mark 4. Get that on as soon as you start. And then, just so you have it all done, line your tray with a sheet of baking paper. No need to grease it if it's baking parchment or baking paper, because it's got a silicone coating, and all you need to do is press it on. Just have that ready. Then we move on to the real business, which is making the biscuits. So we'll start off with our soft butter, sugar. You'll need an egg yolk. So separate the egg. Just add the yolk. A wee bit of vanilla, about a teaspoon. And we just want to mix this. Literally a few seconds is all you need to bring this together. You don't want to overmix it. You don't want it light and fluffy. Finally, we can add our corn flour and our plain flour. And we just want to mix that in. When it becomes hard to mix in with a spoon, or you make a big mess, then you can get in there with your hands. A good tip for any biscuit dough, and for pastry for that matter, is that if it looks like that, like it's never going to come together, and you feel like you want to add more liquid, don't. Just give it some time. I'll show you with my hands. It will come together. You don't want to overmix it. You don't want it to be really, really smooth. Like in all baking, you'll build up the gluten too much and you'll have a tough biscuit. At this point, ideally we'd like to cover this in cling film and put it in the fridge and leave it to rest anywhere from 10 minutes to 3 days. Be absolutely fine, and that'll just relax the gluten and give you a much more crumbly, snappy biscuit at the end. But if you don't have time, that's fine. As we don't today, we're just going to roll it straight out. When rolling, you'll need to flour your surface. So take some flour in your hand and throw it over your clearish surface. And then place your biscuit dough on top and more flour over the top. Move it around, and that'll stop it sticking on the bottom. It helps if this is cold. You want your biscuit dough to be the exact thickness of a pound coin. I know this doesn't help international viewers, but 2 to 3 millimeters is all you really want. You'll find that this gives you a much crisper biscuit. Sticks, any sticking at all, more flour. Flour is your friend here. Once the dough is roughly the thickness of a pound coin, I'm going to cut it out. Cut out the big circle first. Make sure your biscuit dough can move about when you cut it. It's not stuck too bad. And then cut out the middle one. If any of your rings are misshapen at this point, don't worry. Sort that out when we move them. Gently break apart your dough and transfer them to your tray. From one batch of dough, you should be able to get 24 rings. I've got 12 out of this first lot. I'm just gonna bunch the dough up together and re-roll it to get the rest. So you shouldn't have any problems with your rings puffing up in the oven. But just to make sure, we're just gonna prick them very lightly with a fork. There's no need to be exact or precise here. We can put them in the oven for no more than 10-12 minutes. In that time, they'll go golden, but not too dark brown. We want them to be crumbly, not just snappy. And if we overbake them, they'll just get too snappy and then bitter. There's no real rule on how to check if biscuits are done. Just gotta have a go. If they're black, they're done. That's been about 10 minutes, so it's about time to take the rings out, and as you can see, they're just starting to turn a wee bit golden brown. We'll just leave them to cool whilst we prepare all the different icings. You can have any colour you like. What I'm using here is royal icing sugar. This gives you a really hard icing, which will set completely over a few hours, and these will last for days and days. If you do use standard icing sugar, you can use boiling water or hot water, and that'll help it set hard. So we've all got a similar dropping, drizzling consistency. We want to be able to drizzle them, don't we? The next step is to add the food colouring. I would recommend putting a wee bit of paper down just to protect your surfaces because these colours are radioactive. Before you ice your first biscuit, I would have a wee practice just to make sure you can get a smooth line just straight onto your baking paper, like that. And if you can do that, you're ready to go. Okay, you could pipe this if you like. It'll be more accurate and much, much less messy. Or you could freestyle, like me, the rebel I am. So once you've done a few lines, you can get your toothpick and you can start feathering. Now this is just when you run your toothpick along the lines to create wee points. And it looks like this. We can leave that to dry. This is the Scottish iced ring. And those are iced rings. Yes, they're a wee bit fiddly, they take a wee bit of time, but they are definitely worth it in the end. I hope you'll agree. If you've enjoyed this video, you can check out more of my own and plenty others besides on the Happy Foodie YouTube channel. To avoid a soggy bottom, you can follow a few rules. The first thing would be to throw out any old ceramic or glass pie dishes. You should never use them. Use a metal one. It conducts the heat a lot better.